Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Hopkins at Home. It is awesome to be with you all again. And hopefully, within the hour, we have a little surprise. I believe this is our last one. So um, I believe we're going to have a nice little surprise for you within the hour. I want to thank all of you and your wonderful energy and also the fabulous suggestion to talk about women in jazz. Um, over the years, as some of you I'm sure can understand, and it's been sort of prevalent in our culture. Women have unfortunately had to take a back seat to their male counterparts many times. However, there have been several women throughout the history of jazz that have been able to permeate that bit of resistance and blockade there. And we're going to take you through a little journey of some of those folks. So hopefully you're ready. All right. Can we all do it? Give a virtual thumbs up. All right. Here we go. All right. I'm going to share the screen here. And we're going to talk about one of the first women in jazz that doesn't get nearly the amount of credit that she should get, and that is Lil Hardin. Lil Hardin was Louis Armstrong's wife, and just as important, she actually wrote a lot of the music for Louis Armstrong, did a lot of the arrangements for him, and is featured on several of his recordings. So what I would like to do now is play you a little bit of Lil Armstrong here. All right, and this tune is called Clip Joint. Check it out here.
I'm gonna pack my trunk, I'm gonna leave this lonesome town.
Fantastic music. She is an amazing musician, very well thought out arrangements. And you could tell in her voice that they were influencing one another. It is my view that Louis Armstrong wouldn't have had nearly the amount of success that he had it not been for his right hand woman, Lil Hardin Armstrong. All right. Now we like to move ahead a little bit to a group of women that had their own big band. They are, I believe, the first jazz orchestra, first jazz big band to be all women, and they are called the International Sweethearts of Rhythm. Hopefully you've heard of them. And they were a smoking hot big band. Unfortunately, they didn't get the recognition that some of their male counterparts got, but they were swinging hard. They were doing their thing, and they were incredible musicians. So check it out here, the International Sweethearts of Rhythm. you could hear the technique, you could hear all of that. Someone just asked, explain the international in their title. Honestly, I can't explain that. Most of them, to my understanding, were from the United States. So I'm not sure why they called themselves the International Sweethearts of Rhythm, other than the fact that they were indeed international favorites. What year was that? They were sort of around in the 40s and the 50s. I'm not sure specifically what what year that recording was from, but they were big sort of at the tail end of the swing era and into the bebop era. All right, and they maintained the band for a while, and they sort of went defunct for a while. All right. Someone's mentioning Mary Lou Williams. Yes, that's the next person on my list. Mary Lou Williams is one of the greatest composers in jazz. Most people talk about Miles Davis in terms of longevity, meaning he had his career starting in the late 40s, went all the way through the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and even into the early 90s. Well, Mary Lou Williams did the same thing. In fact, Mary Lou Williams had something in New York City, in Harlem, that was called the Salon. And at the Salon, you would find Charlie Parker, Thelonious Monk, Dizzy Gillespie, Bud Powell. All of those names, those folks are the inventors of bebop music. And she opened up her space to them so that they, in essence, could create a lab. All right. And that a lot of folks believe was really where bebop music was born. So let's listen to a little bit of Mary Lou Williams. Mary Lou Williams was one of the chief arrangers for the Ellington Orchestra for a time. She was one of the chief arrangers for, I believe it was the Tommy Dorsey Band for a time. And she continued arranging throughout her life and writing original compositions. She became a member of the Catholic faith later in her life, and she wrote a mass, which is an unbelievable mass, and you should check that out. But let's hear one of her arrangements here of "It Ain't Necessarily So," Mary Lou Williams. Right. Now, those of you that are familiar with Mary Lou Williams' music, you know that most people know her for her big band writing and her contribution in that regard. Most people don't get a chance to really hear her play and hear how sophisticated she was. So I just wanted to play that little clip for you all. There's a question in the chat that I just wanted to address. It was one of our first questions, and it is from Clay. And the question is, what do you see for the future of jazz? All right, they're talking about their son. Son is a freshman in jazz studies, and they're wondering how long will he be starving in the basement as an artist. Well, I want to say that it's important to understand that music, the profession of music, and the skill set that you learn when you become a musician is not the same skill set as the skills that you need with the music business. So there's the side of music for the artists. The artists learn how to perform, you learn techniques, et cetera, theory, all of those things. But there's also the music business side of it. So I would encourage your son to start getting into music business courses, learning about taxes, learning about nonprofits, learning about grants, learning about publishing, all of those types of things, and how to diversify your revenue streams inside of the business, the music business. For myself personally, I'm an educator, I'm a composer, of course, I'm a trumpet player, I'm a consultant, and I'm also a writer. So my streams of income come from all of those places. So depending upon how savvy you are, you can make a really good living in music. And not just make a good living in the now, if you're a composer, those songs will be played forever. So my family will get paid after I'm long gone. So that's important to remember. So if you need more tips on that, feel free to shoot me an email. All right. We're going to move along to sort of later, a little bit later, getting into bebop. One of the main contributors of bebop music, artistically and in terms of performance, is a woman by the name of Melba Liston. She is a fantastic trombonist. She played with Dizzy Gillespie's band a lot. In fact, if you check out a few of Dizzy Gillespie's recordings, you can hear her playing specifically Night in Tunisia. He actually reworked Night in Tunisia in order for her to be featured. He decided that he wasn't going to play his tune, his like hallmark composition. He was going to feature her on it. And so I want you to check out Melba's Mood here. This is a little more modern version of her, but you could check out her sound. Melba Liston, wonderful trombonist. Sound, fantastic sound, amazing sound. Excuse me. Now you have in the chat, we have a few folks that are chiming in here. These are wonderful suggestions that you're adding here, and let's include them. All right. The first suggestion talks about one of my favorite organists. And we're entering into it's actually very appropriate because we're entering into the hard bop period now after bebop. And that is the great Shirley Scott, one of the great organists of all time. Amazing musician. It's funny, Shirley Bassey gave up there. But Shirley Scott is incredible, super incredible musician. She is really beloved in the area of Philadelphia. A lot of folks sort of, in a way, kind of stole her sound a little bit. But let's hear a little bit of Shirley Scott. And on this particular tune, this tune is called Roll 'Em right here. That's a Mary Lou Williams composition. So let's check that out. Is super swinging. I want to get up and dance a little bit, you know. Wow. Thanks for that suggestion. And this is one of my favorite Shirley Scott albums, actually. Another great Shirley Scott album is this one here that's called Great Scott. And I just want to, that's what it looks like. That's pretty hard to find on vinyl. So, but if you can find that one, that's a great record. So check that one out. Fantastic suggestion, and thank you so much. We have another a suggestion of Marion McPartland. Marion McPartland is another voice in the music that is extremely important and really important for jazz education. Just a couple quick things about Marion McPartland. She is in the photo, The Great Day of Harlem. She's actually in there with Mary Lou Williams. They're in there. I believe they're looking at one another and they're talking. Um, so that's a little bit of history for you. Also, Marion McPartland created a series for NPR called Piano Jazz, okay, which is really, really important in the music in terms of education. So let's hear a little bit of Marion McPartland. Wow. The level of sophistication, the level of care, the level of precision, it's stunning. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Yeah. Um, Someone there's a question about vinyl. John has a question. Speaking of vinyl, it seems to have made a big comeback in recent years. Can we talk about the sound and acoustic nuances a listener will discover on vinyl compared with streaming or CD? Yes. Well, first of all, with most vinyl recordings, specifically those that came from around the mid 70s and before, they were recorded to tape first. Excuse me, and then the tape was transferred to vinyl. So the tape adds a certain element of warmth to the overall sound. Once you start getting into digital production, then the need to master the product comes in, which digitizes it a little bit more. So it's almost too clear. Over recent years, people, including my own albums, we've begun to sort of master to tape and then put them on varying platforms. I'll go back in time a little bit now. If you're able to get original pressings of these albums, that's where you're going to be able to really hear what was on the mind of the composer, the performers, and the engineers, specifically with those recordings that were done by Rudy Van Gelder, all the Blue Note stuff. Those are flat recordings. What I mean by flat is they don't boost treble because they like to hear the high end. They don't boost the bass because they want to hear more of that bass, that low end. It's just literally a flat sound, and that gives you the purest version of what happened in the studio. So, and also last, excuse me, last year, 2019 was the first time since the 80s that vinyl sales were greater than CD sales. So the vinyl product is coming back. Yes, for the sound, but also when the vinyl product, you have great liner notes. You can see photographs of the session a lot of times. So it's really, really hip. Scott says original pressing sound expensive. Yeah, they are. And my wife and I talk about it all the time. Original pressings are expensive, but they grow. They grow in value, so it's worth the investment. Thank y'all for those suggestions. That's great. I do want to move ahead a little bit later and get into the avant-garde period and the experimental period in jazz. And we have to talk about Alice Coltrane here. Alice Coltrane is very influential in the music. Could probably guess that she was married to John Coltrane. And she's very influential in terms of getting John Coltrane to think more in the realm of the spirit world and the overall arcing context of the universe. She's very influential in his work that he did on A Love Supreme and beyond. But let's hear some of her music here. All right, let's check it out. She's very influenced by a lot of um, Eastern musics, okay, specifically Indian music. So check it out. By the way, if you're missing the class, thank you, Amy and Laura. We're going to actually re-offer the class with the prep division at Peabody, and I'm going to make it even more intense in the spring. So look for an email for that. All right, here we go with Alice Coltrane. Now, you might be wondering to yourself, wait a minute, Alice Coltrane, Alice Coltrane plays the harp. Why am I listening to a piano? Well, guess what? Alice Coltrane is a wonderful pianist as well. And I cut that a little short because I have a little bit of a surprise for you. And I believe she's on here. And I want to look through here and see if I could find her to pin her video, pin her screen. Before I pin it, I'd like to introduce to you all one of the greatest musicians alive. As of today, there are only two musicians that are female that have been nominated for I believe it's best solo performance or best album in jazz. Best album, I think. Yeah, best contemporary album in jazz. Terry Lynn Carrington was the first. The second is this individual. She is a full professor of music at the Berklee College of Music. She is a very dear friend of mine. There are only two people on earth that probably know me better than her, and one of them is my mother. I would like to introduce you all to the great Tia Fuller. Let's pin her video up here. There she is.
Oh, hi, Sean.
How you doing, Tia? I just want to ask you just a couple questions here.
Okay.
You've played with everybody. You've played with Terry Lynn. You've played with Beyonce. You have your own albums. You've pretty much, I mean, destroyed every single barrier that's out there, and you're reaching so many people. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. Can you describe what it's like? Just, I know it's an open-ended question, and it's so much you can say about it, but just give us a window into what it's like being a woman playing this music.
Yeah. Well, first off, I just want to say thank you, Sean, for having me on today. Sean is, as he said, we're extremely close, and he probably is in the top 2 or 3 people who knows everything about me as well. So, but regarding being a woman in music, I'd say today, this is probably one of the best times to be a woman in music. I was just on another interview today, and we were just talking about how history has been his story, unfortunately. The Westernized society is a highly patriarchal society. And I think throughout the course of history, in particular to jazz, but it's just looking at the arts in general, it has been highly male dominated. And not to go too deep into the weeds, just looking at from a historical standpoint, looking at like Mary Lou Williams, we all know that she's an extraordinary pianist composer, but we didn't know that she was on the impetus of Dizzy Gillespie's career and Thelonious Monk's career by teaching them. She used to teach them private lessons. Like they would go to her house after gigs, and she would be teaching them private lessons. Or like Lil Hardin Armstrong, for example, she was actually one of the pioneers for Louis Armstrong's Hot 5 and Hot 7 recordings, and for him to become individual artist. So it's really just looking deeper into our history. And for me, that has really empowered me as a woman in this music, because we have always had voice. And so for the young ladies who are here on this on these beautiful Hollywood squares, I want to tell you, continue all of the great work that you're doing and move in faith and not fear. And then for all of the young men who are on here as well, continue to support and pioneer, you know, your sisters in this music, because it definitely takes all of us. And I think as of right now, we're in a very fertile stage of really deconstructing certain elements of history and reconstructing and making it more equitable across the board.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tia. And you've taught me so much over the years. You know, you just mentioned moving in faith and not fear. And that reminds me of Decisive Steps.
That's right.
Decisive Steps. You're one of my favorite cuts of yours. But I want to ask you, we're playing music here. What composition would you like for us to hear of yours? And if you could just talk about it real quick. You've done, okay. I mean, what do you got out? It's 5, 6 records now?
Yeah, 6.
Yeah, 6 albums now. Yeah, I'm fortunate enough to be a part of 2 of them. I think 2 of them, maybe 3.
It's been 3, yeah.
It's been 3. And Tia is also on a couple of my records, but check her stuff out. All right, check her stuff out. And it's just one track. If you would say this track we got to hear, what would that be and why?
Oh gosh, you know what track comes to mind is and I didn't even write the song, but Windsor. And of course I have to play a track with you on it. So it's funny because when, I don't know if you remember this, Sean, but when we recorded, you were like, and you listened to your solo, you were like, man, I always play the best on your albums. And this was one of my, I mean, hands down, this is one of my favorite songs, or anybody's songs on this specific album. They used to play it all the time on XM radio. And unfortunately, I didn't write it. My sister, Shami Fuller Royston, wrote it. But this features Sean and I, and really just, I would say, all the history that we've had over the years and how we've come to a oneness in our sound. And so Windsor, I would say, would be the song to listen to.
Okay, I'm going to try to pull that up here.
Okay.
Let's see what I can do here. Or, you know, if we can make you a host, you could probably play it from your. Oh no, I have it.
Okay, cool.
I think I have it. It's on Kissed by the Sun, right? It's on that album.
Yeah, it's on Decisive Steps.
Oh no, it's on Decisive Steps. Yes, excuse me.
The second track, I think.
Second track. Okay, got it. Here we go. Windsor. I just want to thank you for coming on and gracing us with your presence. We love you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. I love you too. Thanks for having me. I'll stick on here as long as I can.
All right, cool. Here we are with Windsor. one of the things, Tia, if you're still on here, um, I have to address this. Um, one of the things we used to play together all the time, Tia, and you would hear, "Oh man, she doesn't play like a girl. She doesn't play like a girl. She plays like a man." And that always really angered me, because to play aggressively shouldn't be associated with a gender. It shouldn't be associated at all.
Yeah.
To play like a guy, to play like a girl. What is that? Why do we do that? How did you overcome that?
Oh, many times I just walked around with cotton ball in my ear. Like, I mean, I recognize that people are just ignorant. And I mean, to be very raw about it, they, unfortunately, everything in this life is associated with masculine and feminine. There's nothing wrong with that. But then when we're looking at power versus non-power, or what is power, and equating all of that with gender, that's where it becomes problematic to me. So, and again, I don't want to go too deep, but again, I think America is one of the only cultures who doesn't really revere women as like a Mother Earth, the nurturer, and all of the indigenous, all of the indigenous cultures who have supported women and talked about women speak about the strength of women, women given the power of birthing and giving certain. I'm sorry, I have a call coming through. Yeah, just the whole idea of a woman and the strength of a woman. And unfortunately, it's been stripped from what a woman, unfortunately, a woman is supposed to be seen as this subordinate figure in society. And so the way that I encountered it is I come from a very strong family of Black women. And so in the back of my head, I mean, not only did I have a strong network, and I went to Spelman College, which is a historically Black university, which really focused on women's empowerment. But in the back of my head, my DNA is about strength and about overcoming adversity. And so it really wasn't an option for me. But there were tools that were set up for me to where a lot of my grandmother was a praying grandmother. And so I started incorporating that in my grandmother and my mother. So I would have certain affirmations that I still hold with me to this day that get me through when I feel like I'm kind of going under. And so yeah, it's just been a combination of affirmation, of prayer, and then really being careful of who you surround yourself with. Like I heard this or read this somewhere, that if you look at your two closest friends, they are a culmination of who you are. They're a reflection of your character. So think about who you're surrounding yourself with and how you are reflecting them and they are reflecting you. And if you're seeing somebody in your circle that doesn't necessarily have the characteristics or the traits, as far as totality of it, we all, are working on ourselves. But if you see that, that their practices are a little bit, they're going out and maybe just doing stuff that I don't agree with, then maybe you should kind of shift. And that has helped for me to endure when I feel like I'm by myself, because I know I have my support system.
Yeah. Well, Tia, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Just hopped on. Just last minute, I sent her a text message this morning. And I said, man, it will be so great to have you on. And here you are. Thank you so much. Let's give a virtual round of applause to the great Tia Fuller. Please check out her music, y'all. It's super killing. The Grammy nominated album is called Diamond Cut.
Whoop, whoop.
Fantastic. Is it that's produced by Terry Lynn Carrington, right?
Yes. It's Terry Lynn featuring Dave Douglas. I'm sorry, y'all. Somebody came to my door and I'm opening up.
Get that Grubhub. Do your thing.
But yeah, it's Terry Lynn with Dave Douglas and James Genius and Bill Stewart. And Jack DeJohnette, and then Adam Rogers. So yeah,
it's an amazing record. It's a fantastic album, and kudos to you. Thank you for dropping in on our session. We love you. I love
Love
you.
you too.
And
I
I'll
love
see
you
you
too.
very soon. All right.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Thanks,
Take
Sean.
care. Awesome. The great Tia Fuller, y'all. And there are so many women that are really, really paving the way for so many people right now. And there's an amazing group that's out right now that's called Artemis. And they're just incredible. Melissa Aldana is in it. Excuse me, Cecile McLaurin Savant. I mean, there's so many folks inside of this group, and I just want to get you hip to them real quick. I want to play some of their music for you real quick. These are some powerful ladies that are doing amazing things, and I'm going to share the screen here. Want you to hear some more music. So here we go. Artemis is here, and they're playing one of Lee Morgan's compositions, Sidewinder. This is their take on Sidewinder. Check it out. Great gentlemen. Limited time, we got to move on. Question about the bass clarinet. That's Anat Cohen, another amazing musician that's happening right now. Please check this group out, Artemis. They are super killing. The last person I'd like to play for you is one of the greatest artists alive, a very dear friend, and her name is Esperanza Spalding. She's definitely broken down a ton of walls. She's a fantastic bassist, fantastic composer, fantastic educator, and vocalist. So check out Esperanza Spalding here. Also Grammy nominated, Grammy winning Esperanza Spalding. Actually, for Best New Artist a few years ago, she beat Justin Bieber. Yeah. She's the one. This is Esperanza Spalding. Check it out. We may run over a couple minutes. I hope that's okay.
The way you look at me when you think I'm not looking tells me your heart's a sleeping giant, wanna buy someone you love before me. I see you're scared, unconvinced by what I've tried to say, that I am yours and that nothing will take me away.
I hate to stop that. On that particular album, this album is her first album. She's the bassist, she's the vocalist, she's the arranger, and the composer. So please keep that in mind. I want to end here with a couple words. I think James Brown may have sort of in a weird way said it best. It's a man's world, but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl. We have to uplift our women. I know from being a father of 2 daughters and a husband that my life was completely incomplete without them. And I just hope that we can all continue to not just support our women that are out here doing great things, but celebrate them, because in a lot of respects, they're doing it just as well, if not better, than we are. Okay. So let's keep that going. And also, again, in the spring, we are going to offer the course again. It's going to be more intense. That we'll be celebrating specific parts of jazz music, hard bop music, New Orleans music, the avant-garde in the course that we're going to offer at the Peabody Prep. So look for some information for that coming soon. All right. It has been a tremendous honor to share this time with you all. Thank you so much. I put those artists in the Hopkins at Home playlist that I've created for you all. And please support them. 2020 has been a crazy time for artists, as you know. If you do nothing but just go on and listen to their music, that is wonderful support for them. And I would like to thank all of my good friends from Johns Hopkins for facilitating this. I can't wait to see y'all again soon. Take care of yourselves and one another. We're entering into the fall. Well, we're in the fall, but into the winter season where the days get shorter and, you know, things start to feel a little heavy. So let's keep uplifting one another and keep listening to music, and we'll get through all of this. Much love, y'all.